Uh, let's start. Yeah. Whatever we discussed yesterday, any doubts regarding that? Anyone?
No, I'm clear.
Okay. Then we'll move towards our main topic. So let us discuss what exactly is Java. So any idea what exactly is Java? Okay. So let me help you out. Java is a, give me a second, please. Sorry for that. So Java is an Java is an object oriented programming language. Okay. And anyone knows who developed Java? So it was developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystem. And who currently owns Java? Any idea? It's Oracle. Oracle acquired Sun Microsystems in 2010. So now let us discuss why Java is object-oriented programming language. So Java is object-oriented programming language because it is centered around the concepts of object, which represents the real world entity. and encapsulates both data and behavior. So what exactly do we mean by it? That objects in layman terms, you can understand it as real world entities that do have some definite characteristics, an identity, certain behaviors, certain state. That is what an object is. Okay. Now, let us define few characteristics of objects. Characteristics of objects are first, first is identity. What do we mean by it? Second would be state. Third would be behavior. Okay. So these are the three characteristics of a typical object that you might see in your real world. Let us take an example. One of the most common used mode of transportation, that is car. Okay. Now, let us figure out whether that car is an object or not. So, for anything to be an object, it needs to have three features. First, an identity. Second, a state. And third would be the behavior. So, what could be the identity of a car? Any idea?
Car's entity would be driving. Sorry, entity would be gears, wheels,
Not entity, it's
something like
identity.
that.
Identity is something with which we can uniquely identify that object itself. So for cars, its identity would be its registration ID. With the help of that registration ID, we can uniquely identify that car. Correct? That is what is unique about that particular object or that particular car. That is what the unique characteristic is. Correct?
Yes.
Now, coming to the second point, the state. Now, the state determines what kind of characteristics does the object has. So in case of car, the state would be, first would be make. Who is the maker of the car? That is one state. Whenever we see any cars in the showroom or in the roads, we can easily identify their makers with the help of their logos, or if it is a very popular model, we can identify just by looking at the model itself. Who is the car maker? So that's the state. But it's not unique. Why? Because if you take an example of any particular car maker, they might have multiple models or multiple car models that they had developed. So that's not unique. So that's why we consider that in state itself. Okay. Second would be model. Again, a single car manufacturer might have multiple models, or even a single model might have multiple variants within that model. Like some model might have, like if we consider the example of Hyundai, and if you try to purchase a SUV of Hyundai, then that SUV model, suppose that you like the SUV model of Land Cruiser. Let us take the example of Land Cruiser only. You are purchasing Land Cruiser, but in Land Cruiser also there are multiple models and there are multiple variations. Like there might be some four-wheel drives, some might have two-wheel drives. So depending upon that, we do have various models, and they also differ, but they are not unique, as there are same mod as we can see same model car multiple times. What I mean by that, if you purchase a Land Rover 4x4, even I can go to a car dealership and purchase that same model with that same 4x4 configuration. So that would not be unique, but the registration number that you would get for your Land Cruiser would be unique. And what I would get for my Land Cruiser would also be unique. Okay. Second point would be color. Third would be price. And fourth would be capacity. And so on. This is the state. Now, coming to the last point itself, that's the behavior. So, what exactly is the behavior of a car? What can we do with the help of a car? We can drive, we can apply brakes, we can reverse the car, so these are all the functionalities, or these are all the behaviors. I mean, not all, some of the behaviors that we have for our car. Okay. So in order for an object, I mean, in order to determine whether the given thing is an object or not, it needs to have three characteristics: identity, state, and behavior. These are the fundamental things that you need to keep in mind while identifying whether the, the given thing that you have before yourself is an object or not. It should have an independent identity. Okay. Any other real world example that you guys can give regarding objects? Depend.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Any real world example of an object that you can come up with?
Uh, a computer.
What exactly is the identity of a computer?
Uh, no, I might be mistaken.
No, you're not mistaken, Dipen. I computer is correct. So
Okay.
let us figure it out together. So identity. What exactly did I told you about identity? It is a unique characteristic for
Yeah,
that
that's
particular object that helps us to identify that okay, this is that particular object. In case of car, it helps us to identify okay, this car belongs to Deepen. Okay, so that we do with the help of the registration number, correct?
yes,
So in case of computers, you do have a serial number of your laptop, correct?
yes,
The serial number is unique for every laptop.
yes, that's right.
So that's the identity of that laptop of yours or that computer of yours. Okay.
Yes.
Now, similarly, can you help me with few examples of state for that particular computer of yours? Consider these
Uh,
examples that are shown here for a car. Try to figure out few examples of state.
like updated version of softwares.
And
Uh, a RAM, a processing system. Uh,
yeah,
those are the thing I can recognize.
okay. So let me help you out here. So first, consider these examples only. What we discussed first, the make of a car. So similarly, you can describe the maker of that computer of yours. Okay, of that laptop of yours. It can be Apple,
Okay.
it can be Lenovo, can be,
HP.
yes, HP, Microsoft, even Microsoft also builds their own laptop, Surface Pro, I guess.
Yes.
Similarly, any other laptop makers like Asus. So that would be the make. Second would be the model itself. Like if you do have a Mac, you might have a MacBook Pro 16-inch 2023 model, correct? Or 2024 model, something like that. So that would be the model itself of your laptop. Third would be the color. You might have a pitch black laptop or a golden laptop or even a gray one. Okay. So these are the state of your computer. The third and last point, behavior. So what exactly do we mean by behavior? This is the example listed here,
Yeah. What can we do with the laptops or computers?
correct? That is the behavior. So few examples of behavior of a computer.
Mm, we can download softwares accordingly. Use of emails. We can search a Google search engine. We can watch on the YouTube. We can like type a note on the notepad or what WordPad.
Correct. So, yes, that is the behavior of a computer. You very correctly pointed it out. So, now I hope if and whenever you get a real world object, you would be able to identify its identity, state, and behavior. Now, correct?
Yes.
Just keep that in mind. Identity is uniquely identifying that particular object. It should refer to that particular object only. Now, again, Deepen, let us consider suppose that you are the object. Okay, can we consider you an object or not?
Mm, we, yeah, we can.
Correct. So, what is your identity?
My date of birth.
Is your date of birth unique? No one in the world can have that your date of birth. Is it
Yeah. There are several people who were born in the same day.
so? That's not
Uh,
unique, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So try to figure out what exactly would be your identity that is unique to you. It can be anything that is specifically that it can help us to identify that yes, this is the paint. Unique.
DNA
Let's not go into
or
that much complicated stuff. Your answer is correct, but that's a bit complicated. Let's
yeah.
not go there. Try to figure out something very day-to-day thing. Okay, so Deepan, are you a US citizen?
Yes, I am.
So you must have a social security number.
Yes, I do. I was about to tell. Since we are talking about me, so I thought like that's not.
No. That social security number of yours is unique. Anyone that has a social security number or any government agency or anyone that has the access to that government database, if I tell them your social security number, they would be able to identify you, correct?
Yes.
So that is your identity, your social security number or your mobile number.
Driver license number.
Yes, driver's license
Okay.
number as well.
Okay.
Each
Yeah.
one of these numbers are uniquely linked to you only, correct?
Yes.
Even your passport number. So there are
Yes.
ample examples of identity. So now I hope we are clear up on the identity part of an object.
Yes.
Now coming to the next part, that's the state itself. So what would be your state, Dipen?
My height, my age,
Mhm.
uh, language. Can we count as an state?
No, language would be in behavior. It is better to keep language in the behavior, not in the state.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, if you, it can be argued that language can be kept in state as well as in behavior. So you're not wrong here. Few more examples of what states you might have. State refers to your present condition. Okay,
Yeah, my education,
yes, your education, correct. That's your state. Your hair color, that's your state,
hair color, eye color.
correct.
Yeah,
That's your state. Your,
I already said height.
correct.
Yeah.
These are all your states. Now coming to your behaviors. What behaviors would you identify for yourself?
Mhm.
And whatever comes to your mind, depend, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm not a disabled, so I can walk,
So that's
I
not
can
your
drive.
behavior. That's not,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
walking is your behavior. You are not
Yeah,
disabled. That's not your behavior.
walking,
Walking,
I can
sleeping,
walk. Yeah, I can sleep,
eat,
drive a
drive,
car.
correct. So that's your behavior.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So now we are clear about the characteristics of objects. So moving to the next point, that's class. What exactly do we mean by class in Java? A class is a collection of data members and methods. Okay. So what exactly does data members? Data member means state of an object and method means behavior. Okay. Whenever we write any program in Java, we write that particular code in a class itself. And why do we do so? Because Java was developed keeping in mind the class framework. So in order to execute any program, you need to write a class first. Okay. So what is a class? Class is a collection of data members. And methods. Now, let us give an example how exactly a class would look in Java. So let us define a class person. Okay. Now, since we have defined the class, now we need to open the curly braces and close it. So this is one thing that you always need to keep in mind. Whenever you open a curly brace, you need to close it as well, or else there would be the error in the program itself. So while writing the code, always keep in mind as soon as you open a curly brace, you need to close it as well. Then and there. And you can just write your code in between. That, okay, this is my code. I will be writing that in between. Now, since we have a class as person, so we need to have few variables also. So let us take few variables of a class person. First, let us take which are the traits or characteristics with which we can identify a person. First would be the name itself. Second would be age. Third would be height. Okay. Now, can any one of you tell me what data type should I give to name? We had already discussed data types in yesterday's class. So Deepen, what should be the data type of name?
String,
Sorry?
string data type.
Yes, that's correct. Rajan. Now, what should be the data type of age?
Ages are whole numbers, so I would believe int or integer.
Correct. And what should be the data type of int?
Uh, Int or height.
Sorry, my bad. The data type of height.
So height could be of decimal numbers as well. So it could be double,
Float,
float.
Yes, I think someone is doing some self-studies. Very good, Rajan.
Thank you.
So the data type for height would be float. We'll be discussing about double uh, in later classes. So these are all the characteristics. Now, let us discuss about methods. Okay, the second thing that was mentioned in the class. Now, there are certain activities or certain things that we need to do multiple times during our program execution. Okay, so let us take the example for class person. There would be eating, that person would eat, correct? Now, suppose in order to make a person eat through program itself, I need to write 2 lines of or 4 lines of code. Okay. Suppose I need to write all these 4 lines of code that would help a person eat through program itself. Now, think that due to some reason, I need to use this food consumption program multiple times in our class, or that is the requirement of our client, that we need to use this line of code multiple times because we need the food eating functionality. Suppose 10 times, then what's gonna happen? If we start writing that line of every time we start writing these 4 lines of code, and if we are using it 10 times in a program, there would be 40 lines of code, that too for the same code itself. And that's not good, because whenever the project comes under the maintenance phase, and suppose that if I want to change the eating function now, I want to make changes in the third line. It's a very small change, but I need to make it. So now what I have to do? I have to make these small changes in 10 lines. And each third line I'll have to make the changes. So it's gonna be very inconvenient for me. Also time consuming. because I am making changes in 30 lines. Sorry, 10 lines, not 30, 10 lines. I'm making changes in the third line. But third line has been written 10 times. So the total number of changes is 10. Now, in order to reduce that, so what we do, we create a function for eating method. And in that function itself, we would write that line of code. I mean the 4 line of code. So we write all those 4 line of codes inside that function itself. Now, whenever I need to use this line of code, I can just call this function only. And as soon as I call, these 4 line of codes would be executed. So suppose if I have to use it for argument's sake 4 times, I'll just have to write the function name and call that function. And it's gonna execute these 4 lines whenever I call this function. Or else I would have written 16 line of code, that too the same code itself. So that is the purpose of using methods. Are we clear on it? Any doubts that you guys might have?
No.
No.
Now, as I mentioned that whatever code we write inside a class. Now, there might be some scenarios in which you do not want to write the same code that you have already written in a different class. Correct? Like, if you have already written this eat functionality in the class person, okay? Now, I want to use that same eat functionality in a class called animal. So again, there are 2 options that I have. First, I can just write that 4 line of codes that we had already written in the class person and reuse it. But again, there is a problem here. If we just try to copy paste the code during the maintenance phase, again, we need to make the changes in the person class as well as the animal class. Why? Because we are using the same code, but we are not using the reference. We are actually using the same code in 2 different classes. So we need to make changes. Now, in order to overcome that problem, that we won't be using that same, writing the same code in different class, what we do is we access this eat functionality with the help of dot operator. Okay. And as soon as we use the dot operator itself, we would be able to access it without any problems. Let me give you an example. P dot age. If I write this p dot age, then we would be able to access it. So what exactly is p here? P is an object. Now, how to define an object? Let's discuss that. To define an object, you need to write the class name. Then the name of the object. Then the equal sign. Then again the keyword new. Then again the class name. Okay.
Can we increase the font, please?
Oh, sorry.
It is too small.
My bad. Is it visible
Thank
now?
you. Yes, yes, thank you.
So this is the format on how we create an object of a class. Okay. What we do, we write the class name, then the name of the object equals new keyword, name of the class. If we want to create the object of the class person itself, what we will do? Yeah, Deepan, can you help with the syntax based on the structure that I have mentioned here? We need to create an object P for the class person. And this is the structure on how to create the object. Can you tell me what exactly should I write to create an object P for class person? Deepan, are you there?
I am here. Yeah,
And
I'm just thinking.
you just need to follow this simple
Yeah.
structure that I've mentioned here. Take your time, no worries.
Open curly bracket.
No, there's no need for curly brackets.
Oh,
You
we
just,
are already in there, right?
yes, you just need to use this format. Forget about the curly braces and semicolon. I mean curly braces or class or anything else. You just focus on this structure that I've written here. And based on that, help me create an object P for the class person.
So
Class
we
new,
we
sorry, so uh, object name P
Mhm.
equal to new object name.
So what do I write?
Sorry, so what we are basing on the P for? I mean, do I write P is simple and I need to write a object for P, so which is the class?
Then, okay, hear my statement carefully.
Okay,
You need to create an object P for a class person.
okay. So person P equal to new person. Then we'll close the curly braces, sorry, the brackets, and then semicolon.
Correct. So this is how we create the object of a class. We write the class name itself first, then the name of the object that we want to create. I already mentioned you that I want to create the object P for class person. So this is the name of the class. This is the name of the object. Then equals. Then we have that new operators. And then again the name of the class. an open close bracket, then semicolon. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how exactly can we identify objects? Identifying objects. Any idea how
So,
can we identify it?
yeah, the object will always refer to its class from class name. So like in the person P, new person, P is referring to the class person. So P is an object.
Sorry, I didn't get that. What exactly did you say?
The object will always refer to some class with a new name so that it can create an object inside a class. So
Mhm,
like in the case of person P, new person, P is
mhm.
referring to the class person, creating a new object inside the class person with the name P, so that we can use or modify anything or call that class or a certain function.
Okay. So you are correct, Rajan. Now, let us suppose we consider the example. So let us play an exercise here. Okay. So I'll give you the name of a class. Okay. I'll write
Okay.
the name of few classes here, and you guys need to figure out what kind of object we can put, we can have in those classes. Okay.
Okay.
First is so these are the classes: company, course, student, and faculty. So, and let us keep our assumptions related to these classes only to smart scalar itself. Okay. So whatever you guys put in these classes, it should be
Mm.
related to smart scalar itself, nothing out of it.
Okay.
So considering this fact, help me, what kind of objects do we keep in these classes? And what exactly did we discuss at the very start of our class? Object is a real world entity, okay, that
Right.
has its individual existence. So keeping that initial definition in mind, what are the
So with the company, we can say employee or employee. Yeah, employee would be an object in a company.
okay, and
Mm, so keeping in mind, so company, employee, courses could be an object in this. The courses a Smart Skiller offers.
mm,
So course is already in a function here. Sorry, class name.
mm,
Specification of company, like what does the company do? I
So
mean,
what
like
exactly
for
do you want me to write here?
like
Prices could be an entity
IT
class,
IT
sorry, object.
IT consultant.
So prices could be a object in with the smart scale. So different prices with different offerings or courses, I guess.
So were you guys able to understand what exactly am I asking you
Uh,
or not?
I,
First,
I guess so, yes.
and what about you, Deepan? Were you able to understand what exactly am I asking you? What is the question here?
Yeah, we are trying to find an object in the class.
So you have
Yes.
provided class
What?
names, and we
Mhm.
need to find objects that could relate to that class name.
Yes, or objects that we would like to keep in that class.
Right.
And the limit and the only condition is that it should be related to smart scalar only. Okay, just to control your imagination so that you just don't give random examples.
Okay. So in the name of course, we can name course name, could be object name in the course class.
So let me give you another definition here
Okay.
and try to understand this definition. Okay. Decreasing. The real and existing things are known as object. The generic name given to refer them is known as class. Okay.
Yes.
So are you guys able to understand these two definitions or not?
Yes.
So now
Now.
considering these two definitions, now try to give me an example of all these, of all the objects that you think might be suited, or and even a single object that might be suited for the classes that I have mentioned here.
Yeah.
Okay. Any example that comes to your mind, just give me one example for each and every class. Let's start with Deepen first, then Rajan would tell us. Deepen, you go first. Rajan has already given us an example. So just we'll leave him this time. So you give your first example for the class company, whatever comes to your mind. Let's make it quick.
A company name.
I had already given you the condition that it should be related to smart scalar only. So keeping that in mind, give me an answer. Company, what exactly should I put in place of object here?
Smart Skillers.
Okay,
The name of the company.
for the course,
QA data analyst.
for students,
Student
Number of
ID, order
number of
ID.
number of student.
Oh, sorry.
for faculty,
uh, IT.
Okay. Now coming to Rajan, what's what example would you like to give for company?
So employee or employee ID to differentiate the number of employees they might have.
In company, you want to give employee ID.
Yes, because employees are associated with company, so I think we can relate it to them.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Next course.
Courses, we have already differentiated, so we can also have class timings for the courses. So that could be an object.
Okay.
Cl-
Students.
for student ID, order ID, or student orders.
Student ID slash. What
And
exactly you mean by student order?
like if someone places an order on the website with a selected course. So let's suppose I am going on the Smart Scalers website and purchase the course. So it will come up with an order ID, or it will generate order under my name. So in that regard, student ID or student order,
Okay.
I'd say.
Last, the faculty part.
Faculty, uh, trainers specifically dedicated to particular course. So uh, course trainer, let's say.
So what exactly do you want the object name to be?
Trainer QA or faculty QA, like that.
So these are the examples that you guys shared. Okay. Now we'll quickly try to understand what exactly an object is. The real existing things are known as object. Okay, it should be real and it should be existing in the real world. Okay, the generic name given to refer them is known as class. So whatever objects you are trying to create, it should be an existing thing. So for company, the object that Deepan pointed out very correctly is smart scaler. That's the correct object here. Employee ID, again, it's not incorrect, but it's not related to the company. If you try to relate, then everything would be related to company, Rajan. Like,
Okay.
then if there are students in the smart scaler, then they would also be related to the company only. It's not that they would be related to something else, correct? So if you try to connect in that way, everything would be related to the company. Even the course, student number, everything is related. So that's not the case. Smart scaler is the correct answer here.
Okay.
Now,
So we'll have to create a special class with the name employee ID in order to relate all the employees in a company.
no, it's not like that. What the goal of this exercise was that I had given
Okay.
you a name of a class and I
Okay.
want you guys to guess what exactly would be the appropriate object for that particular class itself. Okay. Now, if we are writing a code and we do create a class with the name company itself, and keeping in mind the same rule that we can only use smart scalar data, yes, we can have that employee ID with that in that class also. It totally depends upon the developer or the person who's writing the code. So you can use anything anywhere, but we need to follow certain industry standard practice here. So that's why. And right now, what I'm trying to teach you guys is how exactly are the objects and classes related to each other. Okay. You can create n number of objects in any class. No one's gonna stop you. But it
Got
should
it.
be meaningful so that whenever you revisit your code at a later point of time or at a later stage, you are easily able to understand what exactly have you written in that code. So we always try to correlate things and use it meaningfully. Just that everyone can understand, whoever go through that code. Okay. Similarly, moving on to the next class, that's course. Again, course, it's a generic name. And what exactly do we, the primary or the best example suited for the course class is the name of the course that we are going through. That is QA data analyst course. That is the course that is the object that best relates to the class course. Now, coming to the third point, that's student class. Now, in students, yes, you can mention student ID, student number, but in class student, the objects would be the students itself. For us, the objects would be Deepan, Raj, Rajan. These are the students that we have in Smart Scaler for our QA analyst batch. For the July batch itself.
So the number of student is okay.
Yes, it's kind of okay, but the best suited example would be name of
The
the
name
student,
of the student. Yes.
because they would have a actual real identity here, correct?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Deepan, Raj and Rajan have their own individual identity. Similarly, for the faculty section, it is better that we write the name of the faculty here. Like as I mentioned, my name is Ankit. So the best example in the faculty section would be Ankit itself, because I'm the faculty who's teaching the automation course or the
Okay. So then,
data course.
yeah, the faculty is like I thought like it's the course. I mean, and the name of the course or like the faculty that we are working. Okay. So
Correct.
student would be name of the student. Okay. Yeah.
These are the examples. These are not the only objects that can be created, but these are the best suited examples for that particular class. Are we clear on it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So did you guys get the installation, step-by-step installation guide for Eclipse and Java?
Yes, it was available in the recording folder for class 13, I guess.
Okay, that's great. Did you guys go through that step-by-step guide?
I have already installed it on my device following that steps.
And Deepan, I guess you
Mine.
already have
Yeah.
that on your device.
Yes. Mine as well.
Okay, and Raj is not available right now. Okay, so let him come. Then we'll check whether he was able to go through that document or not, and what is his progress. So now we are done for today. Okay, now whatever we have discussed today, please, whenever you go home, go through all these concepts, whatever has been taught today. Okay, the recordings would be available to you guys. If you have any other queries, just write it down and you can ask me on